Good evening. So today we're going to do a cause and effect activity, prioritizing the idea of population density. So you might be asking yourself, what is population density? Well, population density is when you have a very high number of people existing in one space that might not be big enough to suitably sustain those individuals. Because there are so many people living in one area, the effect might be that it's harder to do certain tasks that normally aren't so difficult. So let's think about this in terms of your own life. So maybe let's look at the example of a bedroom. So a typical bedroom is what, maybe 10 by 12 feet? And if you need to do something in your bedroom, maybe it's pick out your outfit for school tomorrow, or maybe you're putting a new video game in your PlayStation or Xbox. You don't really have to worry about having people to work around. It's typically maybe only you or a sibling inside of the bedroom. So you get up and you do your normal activity, and then everything's hunky dory, right? But let's say hypothetically, we want to show population density. So instead of it just being you in your bedroom, we now have 20 people crammed into this small 10 by 12 space. So if you want to do whatever activity I just described, whether it be putting out your clothes for school tomorrow, if you have 20 people in this small space and we're seeing population density in this small space, you might have to bob and weave your way through a crowd of people now to do something that was once super simple for you to do. That's kind of like population density. I want to show you an example of population density. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And here we have a busy New York City street. There are probably like thousands of people on this one very street. And if you look at this picture, they're all crowded together. We see tons and tons of people, and we see crowds. We see probably foot traffic where you have to wait around people or work your way around people in order to do something. It might take you double the time to walk a distance that you're normally used to walking because you have to work your way around so many people because of the population density. Now let's look here. Here's the opposite of that. Here we have a rural street, maybe a street that reminds you of the downtown area in your city or village. This this space has plenty of room for the citizens of the town that inhabit it. Um, People don't really have to work around other people. There aren't busy crowds because these individuals are able to spread themselves out so well. There aren't so many people in this one space as we see in New York picture. So this is an example of what it looks like when you don't have population density, probably a site that you might be familiar with if you live in a small town. So what we're going to do today is we're going to really play around with the idea of population density. So think back to that bedroom I just described to you. Uh, I'm going to map out an area in the classroom that is 10 by 12 feet. I'm going to tape that. And I'm going to invite students one by one to do jumping jacks in that space. We'll start with one student, and I'll ask you to do maybe 5 jumping jacks. And slowly, I'm going to add students one by one until we really see the effects of population density. Inevitably, as we add students, there's going to be less and less room for people to do their jumping jacks. It's going to be harder to fit in that same space. And hopefully, this will allow you to see what it's like to experience and live in an area that has population density.